Hey y'all, I hope all is well. Welcome in, welcome in. Get my camera together. There we are. I did not grab my water. Let me grab my water. All right. I'm like, I can't not be hydrated. I ain't got time for the foolishness now. All right, I'm ready. Ready to dive in. We are talking about today self-motivation. This was from the poll. So thank you to everyone who did the poll and voted for this topic. Self-motivation was number 1. And then I think number 2 was managing anger, I believe. So I think that we'll just do that one for next week. Hey, Shaphonia, welcome. So yeah, self-motivation 1. We're able to kind of talk through that. So I have 8 affirmations today on self-motivation. It could have been more because really I was talking to myself. Okay. I was really talking to myself. But so we have 8 for tonight. And I want to also go through a few key points on motivation in general, just a few things to remember when thinking about how to self motivate yourself. So I'm gonna talk through those key points. I want to say there's like 5 of those. Then we'll dive into the affirmations. But yeah, feel free to jump in if you have any questions or need me to repeat anything or go back at all. If this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I am a certified meditation coach, meditation and mindfulness coach. And I do these live just to kind of talk through some different topics that people are wanting to hear about, in addition to the meditations that I do on a weekly basis. So lives are on Mondays and meditations will be posted every Saturday now. I just changed the day. So for anyone that's new, awesome. And let's go ahead and dive into the topic at hand. Just a few seconds here as I get it up. Okay, so key points to remember for self-motivation. Number 1 is understanding the difference between internal and external motivation. A lot of times we rely heavily on external motivation, whether that be from the people that are around us, from our jobs, from our friends, our family, just like the actual factors and environment of life. We rely on those things. Hey, Hiru. We rely on those things for motivation. So the first thing when it comes to self-motivation is understanding the difference between internal and external. And the stronger your internal motivation is, it helps you not to heavily rely on those external factors. Also, we all understand that external factors or external motivation comes and goes. We can't really rely on those things. So the more that we are present with self, the more that we're able to understand self and to self-motivate, the better off we will be, the better our well-being, the better of our mental state. It all kind of just gets better from there. So focusing on self-motivation and thinking of external motivation as just the icing on a cake versus something that is the core of that cake. You know what I mean? So that's point number 1. Point number 2, goal setting is key to staying motivated, not just in your professional life, but also in your personal life. So are we setting goals for our personal life? What are our personal KPIs? What are our personal metrics? What are our personal conversion rates, right? It all kind of relates. There has to be some type of correlation between our personal lives and, yeah, of course, we want to be chill, we want to have relax, and we want to have our fun time and all of that stuff. But we also want to make sure that we stay focused and that we're staying on top of our motivations, not just professionally. We have those professional KPIs, but let's think about our spiritual KPIs, our physical KPIs, our financial KPIs, relationships, and how we want our lives to look in general. Think about those things. And I don't want to, I say KPIs just because, I'm from that space of professionalism of there's always KPIs, metrics, and all of that stuff. But we have to have that approach sometimes, especially even when it comes to our personal lives. I think we kind of dismiss it when it comes to our regular day-to-day stuff, whereas it's still applicable. So yes, goal setting is important. And even with that goal setting, be realistic. Sometimes we estimate, I can't talk today, y'all. We overestimate when it comes to setting goals, and then we become unmotivated because of the fact that we overestimated or were unrealistic with our goals for ourselves. So not just thinking about what those goals are, but also being realistic with what those goals are. Third point, being unmotivated is typically a mask for fear or anxiety. Identify what scares you and what is keeping you unmotivated. Self-awareness of your mindset and your self-discipline is very important. So understanding that being unmotivated is typically a mask for something else. It could be for fear, it could be for anxiety, it could be for depression, it could be a mask for just feelings of worthlessness or hopelessness, which also is linked to depression. So just thinking about if you find yourself consistently unmotivated or you're always unmotivated, thinking a little bit more about your emotions, your feelings, and how they're linked to that unmotivation. Usually it's going to be a mask for something, and becoming more self-aware, journaling, going to therapy, really kind of working through and understanding why that unmotivation is present, that will help as far as like combating it. If you're not aware, if you don't know what's happening or why it's there, it's going to be hard for you to fight it if you don't know the reason why. So being unmotivated is typically a mask for something. And the last point, inspiration equals instant motivation. So finding ways on a daily basis for you to be inspired, right? Haven inspired, see what I did there. But making sure to find ways to be inspired on a daily basis will continue and help with motivation. One of the things that you can do when it comes to meditation specifically is visualization. Just visualizing what you want your life to look like, what those specific goals are that you're trying to obtain, and taking the time to even feel what it would feel like once you hit that goal, or taking the time to really plan out and strategize that in a meditative state is great for visualization, but also for inspiration. And then also too, just understanding that the goal for self-motivation is not perfection, but improvement. Sometimes we're focused on our motivation being perfect versus, am I improving? Am I getting better? Those are the focuses. So if you're shifting your focus to, oh, this has to be perfect, from, this has to be perfect, to, am I improving? Am I getting better? Am I a better version of myself than I was last week, last month, last year? And weighing heavily on the improvement versus weighing heavily on being perfect, that will help with continued motivation. So awesome. Those are my points just on self-motivation in general. I'm going to dive into the affirmations, but feel free to drop anything in the comments, talk back to me. This is interactive. If you have any questions, comments, please drop them in the comments below. Just to go through the affirmations, again, there's 8 affirmations. You can use these affirmations however you wish to use them. If you want to change the language, if you want to just write them down, if you want to record yourself saying them and listen back to them, if you want to put them on Post-it notes, however you want to use them, if you need to change the language, do so. If it doesn't sound like, something that you would say, if it doesn't sound like something that you actually believe quite yet, you can change the language to make it more real or true for you. So however you feel you need to do that, by all means do that. Affirmation number 1, I approach each day with enthusiasm and purpose. I approach each day with enthusiasm and purpose. I'll say that one more time. I approach each day with enthusiasm and purpose. So just understanding, this is just the beginning, but just understanding that if we are strategic and intentional with each day that we live, because sometimes we're just on this, it seems like we're just on this wheel of I get up, I take a shower, I get dressed, I go to work, I come home, I eat, I go to bed. And you're just on that loop, right? But taking the time to approach each day with enthusiasm and purpose is going to be motivating in itself. Sometimes we're just unmotivated because we're on this kind of hamster wheel sometimes when it comes to your day-to-day. So think about how you approach the day. Think about how you start the day. Think about your morning or evening routines. Think about what you can do and add or change to bring in inspiration and motivation for you daily. Motivation is a daily thing. It's not by situation or not by environment or not even on weekdays versus the weekends, because I feel like sometimes I found myself I'm really, really motivated on the weekday because that's my work days. But then on the weekend, I'm just like, I don't want to do nothing towards a goal at all. And then that can be unmotivating in general. And that's what makes Monday so hard, because you just had 2 days of being unmotivated. And now you're back to Monday. And now Monday is so difficult. So thinking about, it being intentional and strategic about your approach to the day is super important. Number 2, I am in control of me and am capable of achieving my goals with resilience. I'll say that again. I am in control of me and am capable of achieving my goals with resilience. Third time, I am in control of me and am capable of achieving my goals with resilience. So just understand that you are capable, right? That you have the capabilities. And if it's not something that you feel that you're capable of doing, ask yourself why. Dig into it. Is it more so of an educational thing? Is it something that you just need to learn more about? Is it something that you just have to get stronger in, where you have a little bit of information or knowledge, but you're, it's just something that you're going to learn as you do? Just thinking about the fact that you are capable and you have control of yourself. You have control of what you do, what you think. You have control of, your day to day. And a lot of times we feel out of control because of all of the things that are happening around us. So then we become unmotivated because of that. Understand, even though regardless of what you have going on around you, you still have control of yourself. So you still have control of your actions. You still have control of your thought processes. You have control of your thought patterns. You have control of, just how present and aware you are on a day-to-day basis. So just taking into consideration that you are in control. You're in control of yourself and you're capable of achieving your goals with resilience. The piece that I want to point out is with resilience, because understand, in achieving your goals, you're going to have some resilience, right? Everything's not going to be easy. Things are going to take time. Things are going to be a process. And a lot of times we feel like we're capable of achieving the goals, but we may not be able to do it or feel like we're able to do it with resilience. So understanding that you are capable of achieving your goals with resilience and embracing that. So that's number 2. Number 3, I transform my challenges into an opportunity for growth and greatness. I transform my challenges into an opportunity for growth and greatness. I'll say that one more time. I transform my challenges into an opportunity for growth and greatness. So just taking those issues, taking those challenges, taking those obstacles, and finding a way for it to be a lesson, finding a way to give yourself some way of improvement, finding a way for those challenges to inspire. Being optimistic, being positive, thinking outside of the box, being creative, all of those things will help you to transform those challenges and not see them as challenges anymore, but actually see them as an opportunity for growth or greatness. Keep that in mind. That's number 3. Number 4, I take intentional action towards my goals every single day. I take intentional action towards my goals every single day. I'll say that a third time. I take intentional action towards my goals every single day. So understand that you can pace yourself, right? Pace yourself. Your goals are not going anywhere, right? They're going to be there. They're going to be there, and there's no reason for you to rush or to overexert yourself. Pace yourself when moving towards your goals. Sometimes we'll have like these big, huge bursts of energy and inspiration, and then we try to do everything all at one time. We try to do everything all in one day or all in 1 week or all in 1 month. And then we realize that we can't, and then we get unmotivated by that. So understanding that, yeah, you'll have these bursts of energy and like places of inspiration and creativity, and then we get a little overzealous, and then we overexert ourselves. In those moments, just to remember, like, yes, I have all this energy. Yes, I'm ready to move. Yes, I'm ready to do these things, but let me plan. Let me strategize. What's realistic that I can get done today? What's realistic that I can get done this week? What's realistic that I can get done this month? And plan it out and take baby steps every day. So that way, every day you're reaching a big piece of, or a piece of your goal, and pace yourself. It's not a crazy race, right? It's not a 100-meter dash. It's definitely a marathon. So just understanding that, and that's how we get in these cycles of unmotivation, because we're rush. Oh, that didn't work. Unmotivated. I don't want to do it no more, right? So if you find yourself in that cycle where you have these like very huge rushes of energy, and the way that you can kind of gauge that is if you start a lot of projects but don't finish them. Like if you're a person that has great ideas and has great initiative and can start a project and can get going on that project, but then somewhere along the lines you lose motivation on that project, a lot of times it's because of that. You push. You try to do too much in a small window of time, and because of that then burns you out, and now you feel unmotivated or depressed or sad or even shame because you couldn't get through it, embarrassment. There's a whole lot of emotions that are attached to that. But yeah, just understand that if you find yourself in that cycle, the next time that happens, think about how you can do it differently. So that way you don't run out of steam. We're human, y'all. We're human. We can't do everything. We can't save the world all in one day. I know when I drink my Celsius or drink some coffee or whatever, I get super motivated. I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's do this. Let's do that. And then at a certain point, you crash and burn. So just understand. Pace yourself. That was number 4. Number 5, I remain disciplined and trust the process to reach my goals. I remain disciplined and trust the process to reach my goals. I'll say that one more time. I remain disciplined and trust the process to reach my goals. So a lot of times we're unmotivated because we're avoiding the process. We're avoiding the process. We want to skip the process. We just want to just start and then get to the end, and then there's no in between. And because there's a lot of in between that we may not have been expecting, or we may have been, sent a different direction or whatever, that begins to build up the unmotivation to the point where we don't want to move. So when it comes to staying self-motivated or mastering self-motivation, make sure to embrace and appreciate the process and celebrate the small wins, right? Be present with the process. Be present and be content with the learning that you're doing in that process versus the actual end result. The end result is great. The success is amazing. That's all great. But in order for you to get there, there's a process. And if you are unmotivated through the process, you're going to delay the process. So understand that there is going to be a process, and you have to trust that process and also be present with that process in order to stay motivated, to stay inspired, to stay creative in whatever goals that you're looking to obtain. So that was number 5. I remain disciplined and trust the process to reach my goals. And then number 6, I approach unpleasant tasks with grace and an open heart. I approach unpleasant tasks with grace and an open heart. I'll say that one more time. I approach unpleasant tasks with grace and an open heart. So understanding that even though we have a goal that we're passionate about, and even though we have a goal that we love and that we feel is a part of our purpose and all of those beautiful, majestic things, right? There are going to be some parts of that goal that in that process that you're not going to like. There's going to be tasks in that process that are not going to be fun. And those are usually the tasks that we procrastinate on. Those are usually the tasks that we push off or avoid. And because of that, we're not seeing results. And then because we're not seeing results, we feel unmotivated in that goal. So understanding that you have to approach those unpleasant tasks with an open heart, with an open availability and a willingness to do so. And for example, like I have some body goals, right? I got some goals. And I had Pilates this morning at 6:30 this morning. And I wanted to cancel so bad. I wanted to just I'm not going. I don't want to do it. I had a long day yesterday. I don't want to go and do not one Pilates move. And I had to push myself. I had to force myself to get up. And even though it was an unpleasant task, even though it's something I didn't feel like doing, I didn't feel like getting up, I didn't feel like putting my clothes on, I didn't feel like brushing my teeth, I didn't feel like doing none of that. I didn't feel like going anywhere, I didn't feel like driving, I didn't feel like doing any of that. But I had to just basically force myself to just get up and do it. Just get up and do it. And as you're in the process of getting up and doing it, you may be complaining in your head, but just pushing yourself and doing it anyway. By the time I got to the end of the class, I felt good. I was awake. I was excited. It was inspiration. I came back home and dived into work and didn't have any issues, especially on a Monday morning. Sometimes you're a little groggy on Mondays. But I wasn't this morning after I got past all of the craziness of me getting to class. So just understand, there's going to be some tasks you're not going to like to do. But if you want that goal, if you want to reach that success, then you're just going to have to do it. So just forcing yourself to not avoid those tasks, to not procrastinate. And I know this is easier said than done, but try not to procrastinate. Try to make sure that you even those tasks that you don't want to do, just pushing yourself just a little bit to get those things done, because that's how you're going to reach your goal. And otherwise, if you don't, you're going to push off your goal. You won't reach your goal as fast, and then you become unmotivated, right? So then unmotivation hits because of the fact that you're not reaching the goal. But if you were doing the tasks, then you may have reached your goal a little bit sooner. So understanding that you just got to sometimes just get it done and do it and force yourself and be disciplined in that to get things done. That was number 6. We got 2 more. Oh, last point for our number 6. Understand that opposition doesn't mean, or is not an indicator to give up. I think a lot of times just because we face opposition or we face a challenge when it comes to us reaching our goals, I was seeing that as also as an unpleasant task. Like sometimes we run into these blockers when it comes to our goals, and we see that as an indicator. Oh, like this must not be the goal for me, or must not be what I'm supposed to do, or whatever. Don't take that opposition as an indicator to give up. Just take it as an indicator to push forward, to lean in a little bit more. Now, granted, you don't want to be, you don't want to just be doing stuff willy-nilly. But just understand, just because you see opposition, just because you see a challenge, just because you see an error or something that happened that just didn't work out in regards to that goal, that doesn't mean you have to change the entire goal. It just means you have to change the approach, right? So keep that in mind for number 6. Number 7, I release fear and embrace the opportunity of success. I release fear and embrace the opportunity for success. I release fear and embrace the opportunity for success. Okay? So that one is just a matter of just remembering that you have to release the fear and embrace that opportunity that's coming. Sometimes you just have to remind yourself that you're worthy of the success that can come with you approaching that goal. And then also just taking into consideration how you feel about self and whether there's self-doubt present, because that can also add a lot to your for you being unmotivated, right? If you're not believing that you're capable, or if you're not believing that you are worthy of that success, then it's going to be hard for you to stay motivated in that space. And then also just understanding, and depending on like your background and what your experience has been with success. Success can sometimes be or feel traumatic. It can feel like trauma. Like if you see something and you reach it and you get that success, sometimes that success in itself can be a traumatic event in your life. And let me explain what I mean. Sometimes success creates more anxiety. It creates new fears. It creates new environments that you're not used to. It creates you being uncomfortable. It just creates all of these different things. Even just when you think about more money, more problems. Like if you have that success, it brings more issues, or it brings more reproach, or it brings more haters. It brings more of these things. So sometimes success can create trauma, right? Or it can be perceived that way. So understanding if that's how you think or how you have experienced success in the past, that could be an underlying fear that you're wrestling with without even knowing it. So it goes back to, I think that was I forget what number that was, but it goes back to self-awareness and understanding, okay, when it comes to success, how do I truly view success? Is success something that I actually want or feel like I deserve? Do I have fears? Is there any fears surrounding that success? This may not be prevalent for everybody, but it is prevalent for some. And understanding that if you see success as a traumatic event, underlining, if you see it as a traumatic event, that could create the unmotivation, and that could create the procrastination, the pushing off, the avoidance, the denial, all of that stuff. So take notice of how you view success, and if that success has an underlying traumatic trigger for you. And if it does, that's something that you want to work through, journal through, go through therapy and talk through, and figure out, because that could be the key to you being unmotivated. That was number 7. Number 8, which is our last affirmation. My laptop went out. Okay. No, our last affirmation, number 8, I attract and surround myself with people who support and encourage me. I attract and surround myself with people who support and encourage me. I'll say that one more time. I attract and surround myself with people who support and encourage me. So be careful of your circle, right? Stay away from people who are heavy in comparisons. And also, even when you're surrounding yourself or the people that you're surrounded by, be okay with people not believing in you, right? Because if they don't see it, they don't see it. You see it. That's all that matters, right? And sometimes people aren't going to see your capabilities until it comes into fruition. And that's just a common human experience. If I don't see it, I don't think that it's going to happen, right? So understanding, one, to be careful with who you surround yourself with. Be careful how they talk about you and speak about you or speak to you. And remove those people that are the naysayers that just can't, they continuously tell you what you can't do or won't do. But then also to being okay with people not being able to see it. If someone can't see it, if they don't have that vision or can't see the vision, be okay with that. And just use that as motivation. Use that as the fuel to say, okay, they don't see it, but they're going to see it in about a year. Watch this. You know what I mean? Or one of the things I say all the time, if it's like, okay, you tell me I can't do something, bet. Watch this. Let's see. You know what I mean? So use that as motivation. And it's okay if people don't see your don't see your goal as being attainable, or don't see it happening, because some people just don't have that capability. Be okay with that and use that as motivation to push forward. Don't use that as a weapon for yourself to unmotivate yourself, right? Not everybody's going to see it. And be careful with who you share your vision to. I'll say that too. Not everybody needs to know the full picture. Not everybody needs to know the full story. Not everybody needs to know the outline and the blueprint of what you're looking to do. Just pop out on them one day, like, hey, like, yeah, I done made it. I got it. And they'll be surprised. And then now they believe in you, right? But be okay with people not believing in your vision and your dream, and be careful with who you share it with. That was it, right? Did I hit on my points here? I think the last thing I would say when it comes to attract and surrounding yourself with people who support and encourage you, also just be okay with the fact that not everybody's going to be able to ride the ride with you. Not everybody is going to be able to, as you're going through your process of whatever goal you're looking to obtain, not everybody is going to be on the ride. Some people are going to fall off. Some people are going to fall off because, they just fell off and they're just not a good fit. Some of them people you won't have to push off the ride. Like, listen, I need you to go. Okay. I'm going to push you off right now. So just brace yourself, because you're going to get pushed off the ride. And some people want to be along the ride for a lifetime. It just kind of depends. And we kind of go through life just trying to learn, who is who. But be okay with people falling off the ride. Okay. And don't invest yourself in the opinions of others. It's one thing to take criticism and feedback and critical feedback from others, but don't invest yourself. Don't invest yourself in those opinions. Sometimes we become unmotivated because we overexert ourselves in the opinions of others, and we just replay those opinions over and over and over again, and not realizing that that's creating the unmotivation. It's creating us coming to our downfall, right? So yes, other people's opinions are helpful and important, but don't invest yourself in those opinions, because then that's when we start to see a downturn, especially when it comes to those negative or things that we perceive as negative opinions. So Got it. Awesome. So I hope that these were helpful. That was 8 affirmations. I'll go back to the top and read them through them really quickly. Number 1 was I approach each day with enthusiasm and purpose. Number 2, I am in control of me and capable of achieving my goals with resilience. Number 3, I transform my challenges into an opportunity of growth and greatness. I take intentional action towards my goals every day. Number 5, I remain disciplined and trust the process to reach my goals. Number 6, I approach unpleasant tasks with grace and an open heart. Number 7, I release fear and embrace the opportunity of success. And number 8, I attract and surround myself with people who support and encourage me. I hope that these were helpful and a blessing. You're welcome, Hiru. Thank you for dropping by. I hope this is a blessing and helpful. Definitely look out for the mastering self-motivation meditation that will be posted on Saturday. Like I said earlier in the live, I'm going to be shifting from Wednesdays because I honestly wasn't able to even get them out Wednesdays. So I'm going to shift it to Saturday. So Mondays are our lives with our topics, and then Saturdays is when I'll be posting the actual meditations, usually associated with the topic of the week. Sometimes they will be, sometimes they won't be. It just kind of depends on what God tells me. But I hope that this was helpful. You're welcome, Shaphonia. I hope this was helpful. You guys have a great rest of your evening. I believe next week I'm just going to go ahead and do the second option on our poll, which was overcoming anger. So we'll talk about that next Monday. And then at the end of next week, we'll put up another poll and we'll pick out some new topics. But y'all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.